The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can catch me on Apple, themainstreetcode.com, or at themainstreetcode.com, Apple, Spotify, or if you log on to 103.9 LI News Radio, they have some streaming on their website, so you can catch my show there. So wherever you are, you can catch us. And we look forward to your questions, comments, and what's going on in the world. We are experts in the world of life insurance, annuities, disability, long-term care, and life settlements. Life settlements are if you sell your policy you get older and, we don't need it anymore, we can't afford it anymore. There's a number of reasons. It hasn't performed well and it's just too expensive. Sometimes you can sell it. And, you hear on the TV, hey, your insurance policy is worth something. Permanent insurance is worth something. It is an asset. You don't have to die to get your money's worth. When you have permanent insurance, it can last a lifetime. And I recommend that you should have some sort of permanent insurance. I know a lot of people buy term insurance, but you should have permanent insurance at some point. And the younger you buy it, the better. I can't tell you how many people I know have bought some term insurance. They're now uninsurable, and they can't convert it because they didn't buy the right type or something else to something permanent, which is a feature you want to see. And now they have no insurance. So, word to the wise. Anyhow, today I want to talk about basic planning. And I know there's a lot of attorneys on this station that talk about wills and trusts. And I have to ask you, do you have a will? The will is the most basic thing in the world. You have to have it. If you don't have one, that's okay. And I'm being sarcastic. New York State will take care of it for you. And they'll send your assets where they feel like it. Very simple. If you don't have one, that's okay. New York State will take care of you. If you're comfortable with that, that's okay. Then that's what's going to happen. So, I strongly recommend you have a will. Now, on that point, on your life insurance and your retirement plans and your annuities, you must have a beneficiary designation. I can't express to you how important beneficiary designations mean. Because at the end of the day, regardless of whether you have a will or not, those beneficiary designations tell you where your asset is going. It has nothing to do with your will. Even if your will says, I want this to go here, my life insurance policy to go there, doesn't make a difference. The beneficiary designation is on your life insurance policy. That's where it goes. Okay? Very important. Let me tell you the horror stories, whether you're a business or individual. Not necessarily horror stories, but early on in my career, and I've seen this from time to time. I have many agents that place business through me, so I see good agents, bad agents, but again, we always catch them and let them know the right thing to do. People say, okay, leave it to my estate. Okay, they put that as their beneficiary, my estate. Okay. Something happens to that person and it goes to the estate. They die and their beneficiaries write a letter to the insurance company, send us a check. Okay, who am I sending it to? I'm sending it to the estate. Okay, what happens when they send it to the estate? Do you have an estate account? Most people don't have an estate account. Okay, but they send it to the estate, so how am I going to cash it? So you have to establish an estate account. How do you do that? Oh, you got to go to the court. You got to go to New York State court, whether it's Suffolk County or Nassau County, or if you live outside New York, we have a lot of listeners outside New York, your jurisdiction, you go to court. And then your will, if you don't have a will, it gets probated. So now you go through this probation process. Now, it's been told to me, I don't do this, I'm not a lawyer, that it may take 6 months just to get a hearing in the probationary court, to 9 months, just to get a hearing. Now, what happens is you get a hearing and you get a judge. And it's probate court. And, if you're one of the beneficiaries, you may want to have a representative there. Now, if you have a brother and a sister and a cousin or whatever, they may have their own representation. So all of a sudden there's conflict here because you're entitled to the estate, you think, because you're a child. And most likely you are. But the judge determines where that money goes. So you may spend a lot of money trying to get a death claim from a life insurance policy because it went to the estate. And I think I should have, I don't care what you think, the judge is going to determine this is what you get. Now, you're going to have a lawyer, hopefully, maybe not, and the lawyer's going to cost money. You may need an accountant. It's going to cost money. The real money is when you go to probate. That's where the real expense is. I don't care if you're worth $100,000 or $100 million. Probate court makes their own decisions. Surrogate's court. That's what they do. You go to surrogate's court and they decide you get this, you get that, goodbye, thank you, have a nice day, unless you have a will and or a trust. So leaving it to your state is not an option. Let's say I leave my life insurance policy to my children. Okay? And one of my children passes away. Okay? I don't make any changes. All right, so let's say I have 3 children. I leave it to Mary, Joe, and Bob. Mary has deceased before me, unfortunately. And Mary's husband, or whoever Mary's beneficiary is, gets 1/3 of my life insurance policy. Now, I may like that person. I may dislike that person. I may not. I may be completely disassociated. It could be an ex-spouse. It could be a spouse from whenever. All of a sudden, they have 1/3 of my legacy goes to that person who I don't even know. And I can give you a million examples of that. One of the biggest examples of that was, who was that woman that reportedly, Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, do you know who owns the rights to her likeness? An old promoter. Like somebody's not even in her family, because she really didn't have beneficiaries, and somehow the promoter got the control of the rights to her likeness. And he's making gazillions of dollars off the likeness because she didn't have an estate plan. It wasn't set up right. Celebrity after celebrity, Michael Jackson, all their estates are messed up because they didn't have the right beneficiary designation. So the courts decide where things go, and if it's not set up right, just your very basic life insurance policy is not set up correctly, this is what happens. Now, you need to review your policy on a regular basis because things change. People change. My spouse was my beneficiary. Guess what? We get divorced and I have a new spouse. And then my children get nothing. My new spouse gets nothing. It goes to my ex-spouse because that's what it said on my beneficiary designation, my life policy, because I never changed it. I see this stuff every single day. Lawyers see it every single day. So A, you have to have a will. Very important. You have to have the right beneficiaries on your contract, which is why you need the right people setting up the policy and discussing these things with you up front and reviewing it on a regular basis. If you don't, catastrophe can occur. So I really want to talk about beneficiary. Very important. It goes by document, does not go by will. It does not go by trust, unless the trust is the beneficiary, which is a whole other thing you can do, is you can set up a life insurance trust just for the life insurance, where that'll dictate where that money goes and when they get the money and how they get the money. That's what you use that trust for. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I can be reached at 631-647-4694 or visit me at themainstreetcode.com. I welcome your questions, your comments. Let me review your life insurance policy with you, and let's do the right thing. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. I welcome your questions and comments. We are experts in life insurance, disability, long-term care, and annuities. This is my passion. This is my life. People say, well, I'm a financial advisor. I'm this, I'm that. The basic building blocks of insurance and legal work, forgetting about the market, is so important, and people sometimes don't prioritize the most important things. And protecting you and your loved ones, in my mind, is the most important thing. And I want to go more into talking about permanent life insurance. Permanent life insurance is monumentally huge. Okay? What does that mean by permanent life insurance? That means I'm going to have insurance for the rest of my life. People have this inclination when they're 40, when they're 30. I'm not going to need it when I retire. I hear this every single day, where I have a 70-year-old call me, I don't need life insurance. Well, what is life insurance for? Life insurance will give your beneficiary, your spouse or your children or other loved ones, income when you're gone. If anybody is relying on your income, whether it's your Social Security or anything, without life insurance, you're hurting. Life insurance, you can leverage money, tremendous amounts of money, in permanent life insurance that lasts for the rest of your life. Just because you're 70 doesn't mean you don't need life insurance. Hey, let's say you can't get long-term care insurance, but you have a life insurance policy. Well, let me just drop it. Well, guess what? Let's say your spouse needs long-term care, but they don't have money now. That extra $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, whatever it is, that death benefit can provide for their long-term care, can provide for the other person's long-term care. Maybe they can't buy it because they already have an issue, and maybe you have an issue, but you have this life insurance, this permanent life insurance. That's going to help them stay in their home and live a good life. Okay? So it works with long-term, even if it's not a long-term care policy. The life insurance death benefit is huge. Permanent life insurance also builds cash value. And, it builds cash value without being taxed. There's nothing else in the world that does that. You could talk about your Roth IRAs, but they have limitations. How much I can put in, how much I can't. Life insurance doesn't. What a great savings vehicle that's not necessarily involved in the market. Now, how does that savings vehicle work? It can work by the interest rates of an insurance company, which is an old way they used to do it, called universal life. The very oldest, most old-fashioned way, which has been around forever, something called whole life. Whole life is fantastic. Okay? Many whole life carriers will pay you a dividend. It's not guaranteed, but if you look at the top quality companies, they've averaged 6% forever. In down markets and up markets, that's all done through dividends. They give you a small interest rate. The dividends aren't guaranteed, but if you look at the history of a quality whole life company, they've been giving dividends since the 1800s. And very strong dividends. Just ask Warren Buffett what dividends mean. And you know what's nice about the dividends in life insurance? It's not taxed. It grows tax deferred. It's only taxed if you use the money or you don't pay it back, and, otherwise it's not taxed. The death benefit's tax-free. The growth is tax-deferred. And you structure it right. You can borrow your own money out tax-free, either taking out cash that you brought in and the growth with loans on the policy. Tax-free forever. Wouldn't it be nice if you're retired and you said, okay, I have this bucket of money that I can be taking out tax-free every day? Now, a lot of people, when they retire, are afraid to take money from their retirement because this has got to last me. And every dollar they take from that retirement, well, let me take $50,000 out because I want to help my son out. Well, all of a sudden, I take $50,000 out, and because I have to pay tax on it, it's only worth $30,000. So I gave somebody away $50,000, and then all of a sudden, I got to pay $20,000 in tax. That really sucks. All of a sudden, I've drained my account. It's a horrible thing. So if I had that cash value life insurance, I could take it out of there, tax-free. And you know what? I could borrow the money out and pay it back if I want. And we have a lot of real estate people that do that on a regular thing. They're their own bank. They put money in the whole life or index universal life, which I'll talk about in a second, and they become their own banker. Okay, listen, I need $100,000 because I'm flipping a house. I go to take out a loan. I got to go through this process. And they got to ask me questions. And they're going to go back and forth. And, oh, you didn't pay a bill 6 years ago. Oh, what is this all about? It could take months. I have a cash value life insurance. Hey, I borrow the money, right? I don't have to pay the interest right away. I take it out. I buy that house. I flip it. I do whatever. I pay the money back. It's okay. It's grown at 6%. You know the beauty about borrowing money from your whole life insurance policy? The dividends are still paying as if you didn't borrow the money. They're still paying even if you didn't borrow the money. So if you had built up $100,000 or $200,000 in your whole life and you take out $100,000, that $200,000 is still earning 6% dividend. Or whatever dividend that insurance company is paying. As if you didn't borrow your own money. It still pays. It's called participating. Oh, what? It's amazing. And people do it all the time. McLean, who ran for president, borrowed $800,000 out of his life insurance policy to help fund his presidency. He paid it back later. It's okay. Not a problem. You don't get a bill every month. You do have to pay the interest back at some point, or you die, and you don't. But if you don't, and it accumulates, hopefully with the dividends, it'll carry your policy, but you still have some cost of insurance. Okay? So you want to pay it back somewhat. But if you don't, it's okay. It'll come from the death benefit. And hopefully in a whole life, the death benefit's growing. It won't hurt your estate. But what a great cash vehicle. We recently had a gentleman who we just processed a death claim. He put in about $2 million. He took out $2 million. Okay? He passed away and still left $3 million behind. How does that work? That was freaking amazing. The miracle of life insurance is huge. Start young. Start early. As early as you can. Now, I know it's harder when you're younger and you're trying to accumulate assets. But to have that tax-free vehicle for you, there's nothing else you can do. Roth IRA has limitations. It's great. You can only put in so much money. It has no life insurance component to it, which is a negative. You could take out the money tax-free, positive. You have to wait till you're 59 and a half or have some kind of other circumstance that may be a problem, or it's taxed. So it has limitations. I love Roth IRAs. I love Roth 401ks, and nobody talks about Roth 401ks. But all you have to do is ask your provider, especially if you're working with a big company, hey, can I put this in a Roth 401k? And I advocate for that every day. And if you're not doing that, I know people with $1 million in their 401k. Great. What's that $1 million worth to you when you retire? $600,000. They won't tell you that, but once you pay taxes, you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you turn 65? You think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket when you're 65. Well, historically, you're probably going to be in a higher tax bracket. Guess what? The government's in so much debt, they need money. Where are they going to take the money from? Well, they've given you this great deal all this time. You've made all these deductions. By the time you retire, you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket? And it's going to be, oh, you don't have to pay us? No! They want their money. I get it. They have to fund things. That's what the government does. That's what taxes come in. You don't have to do that with life insurance. The best protected policy in the world is a life insurance policy. Gross tax deferred. You can take money out tax-free. You have a tax-free death benefit. Home run. What could be better? And guess what? You put it in a trust. It's in a state tax-free. You no taxes. Unbelievable. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I can be reached at 631-647-4694. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its